Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
There are now 3 new Star Wars movies that have officially been announced recently at Star Wars Celebration this year, and the release order may have been recently revealed. That is, of course, into the regards of a rumor. Fans of the galaxy far, far away have been eagerly awaiting the arrival of some new Star Wars movies since 2019's The Rise of Skywalker, which said goodbye to a 40-plus year saga, while at the same time, for many other fans, leaving a bad taste in their mouths. And so since then, multiple movies have been revealed and even announced from Lucasfilm, such as Kevin Feige's Star Wars film, Taika Waititi's film, and Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron film, but they have never been able to get off the ground, leaving many disappointed. However, it does seem as though that ship has been rightened from the time being, and that these 3 new Star Wars films that were announced at Star Wars Celebration are well on the way, and actually will be able to get off the ground and actually go somewhere. So recently, according to a new report from The Hollywood Reporter themselves, a very reputable source, if they're reporting on it, it's just about confirmed, Disney and Lucasfilm already have a rough plans of when they want these 3 upcoming Star Wars films to be released in theaters. Starting out with number 1, that there being Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's film. This is going to be the Rey Skywalker focused film taking place 15 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's upcoming Star Wars film will feature Daisy Ridley's return to the galaxy far, far away for the first time since 2019's The Rise of Skywalker, although that there isn't that far. Of course, within relation of the original trilogy actors, or even the prequel actors with the Obi-Wan Kenobi show recently. It will be set 15 years after that film's events of The Rise of Skywalker, as I had mentioned, and showcase Rey Skywalker as she builds a new Jedi Order. According to the reports, it is also believed that the movie will be released on December 19th of 2025, so 2 years away, due to Disney and Lucasfilm wanting it to be the first of the 3 films to hit theaters, out of the 3 movies that had been announced at Star Wars Celebration. The second film on the docket according to The Hollywood Reporter, for when Disney wants to release these movies, being Dave Filoni's Mandoverse film. It was announced at Star Wars Celebration that Dave Filoni will be directing his own feature film that will serve as a quote-unquote culmination for all of the storylines within the Mandalorian universe on Disney+, although Dave Filoni has stated that this won't be the end of the Mandoverse necessarily. As of this time, there have been no release dates attached to Filoni's film, but the report stated that Lucasfilm, from The Hollywood Reporter, is currently aiming for it to come out roughly 1 year after Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's movie. However, at the end of the day, what really does matter is that the release date truly all depends on if the Disney Plus shows, such as The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, can reach the right point in the timeline by the end of 2026, as those shows are all going to be leading up to the events of what the movie is going to be about. And so if not, then fans can expect Dave Filoni's movie to be delayed until either May of 2027 or even December of 2027. Dave Filoni's movie, especially compared to other Star Wars movies, is really an oddball, and really unlike anything that we've seen with other Star Wars movies. The third Star Wars movie that had been announced at Star Wars Celebration would be James Mangold's untitled film, releasing somewhere in December of 2028. James Mangold's upcoming Star Wars movie was confirmed to be focusing on the birth of the Jedi and the Jedi Order, meaning that it will take place thousands and thousands of years in the past before the Skywalker saga. And we recently also discussed this in a recent video here on the channel, but here is going to be set in a new timeline, a new era in the Star Wars canon that is set all the way before the Old Republic and the High Republic. This new era would be called the Dawn of the Jedi. James Mangold's Star Wars film will reportedly not even be worked on into the regards of a script or anything like that until he's finished with his other movie, a biopic about Bob Dylan. However, another recent report / rumor had suggested that his Star Wars film will come before he starts working on the DCU's Swamp Thing movie. The most likely release date for James Mangold's film would be December of 2028, as that would give him enough time to work on the movie after he is finished with the Bob Dylan film. However, if the DC Swamp Thing doesn't need to be released until the early 2030s, which is next decade, which is so far away, Mangold's Star Wars film could even see a December of 2029 release. And so for the past few years, it does seem as though a lot of projects under the Disney umbrella have suffered multiple delays, especially when it comes to the MCU and Star Wars franchise. Some of this was due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but some projects are still being pushed back for various other reasons, such as creative differences is very common. Disney and Lucasfilm have ultimately made the right decision by not attaching release dates to any of these three films and simply leaving them open-ended, and that at the end of the day they're able to take as much time as they really need to work on all of these different films, and that they aren't working strictly on a due date. As history does show, some previously announced projects from Star Wars like Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron film and Taika Waititi's Untitled film were given release dates, which caused a lot of fan disappointment when they didn't release on time, and from there were either shelved or cancelled. Now, to be fair, Taika Waititi's film, Untitled Star Wars film, is reportedly still in the works and hasn't been canned necessarily, but Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron film, the last that I've heard about that is that we won't be seeing that. Lucasfilm obviously has release dates in mind for each upcoming film, to a point, but keeping those private from the public for the time being until these projects actually get off the ground, are well into production, is probably the smartest move, and being able to see these projects actually get out there. I for one definitely feel that that will take off a lot of different pressure and a lot of stress for when it comes to working on these movies, and that they won't feel rushed necessarily, as they would have a due date of some type. With that being said, fans can expect Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's film of Rey Skywalker after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, set 15 years after those events, and then at the end of the sequel trilogy, to be released in the December of 19th, 2025 slot for the time being, according to The Hollywood Reporter. As I did mention at the beginning of this video, The Hollywood Reporter is a very reputable source out there. When they do report on these types of things, it's just about confirmed, but not necessarily, so do take this with all of a grain of salt. And that really anything can happen, as we have seen previously before with Star Wars movies. I think out of these three Star Wars movies, the most unlikely one would have to be James Mangold's Untitled Star Wars film being about the first Jedi. Of course, it's such a cool concept and one that a lot of Star Wars fans want to hear that story about, but seeing that it's so far down the line and the least of their worries, the least project that they would want to work on anytime soon, and also the fact that James Mangold unfortunately doesn't have any connections to Star Wars all that much, but does have his connections with Lucasfilm overall, having worked recently on the Dial of Destiny movie, Indiana Jones. It doesn't necessarily feel as likely. It does seem as though it is currently on schedule when it comes to pre-production, and if Lucasfilm wasn't confident that it would definitely be the next movie to come out for Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's Star Wars movie, wouldn't have publicly brought Daisy Ridley out on stage at Star Wars Celebration to help promote this movie and get fans excited for it. As far as Dave Filoni's film goes, fans can also be confident that it will definitely come out at some point, because it is going to be about what the entire Mandoverse is on Disney Plus and has been building towards. However, the actual release date could vary, and is something that is very much up in the air, and that is a good chance that it won't be able to come out by December of 2026, depending on where the Mandoverse is at that point in time. Anyway, let me know what you guys are all thinking about this in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking and looking forward to most with all of these Star Wars movies. Thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one, guys. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.